But anyway, Hogan was interviewed, and he shared some more great Hoganisms with us, and I just had to share them with you. These are always entertaining. Some of these notes that I've cobbled together here come from a report that was sent into the Observer, and I've added some to this myself. Hogan claimed during this interview that he was once scouted by both the New York Yankees and the Cincinnati Reds to play baseball, but unfortunately an injury cut short his playing career. The same way a finger blister, I'm sure, stopped him from joining Metallica, which is another tall tale that he's told over the years. You know, how he used to be big pals with Lars Ulrich, and he auditioned for Metallica. Meanwhile, Lars Ulrich has no recollection whatsoever of ever being in the same room with Hulk Hogan, let alone being good friends with him. You would think he would remember that, given that, you know, Lars Ulrich, I don't know how many of you know this, but he has a photographic memory. He's talked about this before. And so between that and the fact that Hogan is no ordinary guy, okay, wasn't he like 6'4" when he was in high school, like over 200 pounds? He was no ordinary kid when he was younger. He's never been ordinary. So that was another story he's told. He also once famously claimed that while he was working for TNA, he said this, that he used to wrestle Pride fighters back in the 70s, even though Pride MMA did not open until the late 1990s. He also said that he led his team to winning the Little League World Series. That's a change from the story he told a few years ago, which was that he played in the Little League World Series, and he was the star pitcher, but his manager pitched him too much, and his arm got tired, and he gave up the game-winning grand slam to the opposing team. None of that is true, by the way. Apparently now the story is he actually won the game. I guess never one to want to do the job, even at 12 years old, I guess. He's told other stories, and we're not even talking about the interview from last week anymore. I mean, I could go on and on here. He's claimed he was an all-state pitcher in high school, which is another story he's told. It came out that he never even played any sports in high school. The Wrestler. Remember that movie? Hogan was on Howard Stern once. He claimed that Darren Aronofsky offered him the lead, but he turned it down, so it went to Mickey Rourke instead. As soon as he heard that, Aronofsky went on Twitter and denied that Hogan was ever even considered for the role, let alone offered anything. I mean, I could just keep going here. I mean, with the time zone difference, this is a great one. This is a fantastic one here. He once said that with the time zone difference, when he would go back and forth years ago between the U.S. and Japan, he once worked 400 days in a single year. 400 days. He talked about once partying with John Belushi after WrestleMania 2, even though Belushi had already been dead for years. It doesn't sound like a very fun party to me. You know, maybe they party Weekend at Bernie style and they drag Belushi's corpse around town. There was the one where he got a sick kid. Now, I'm not trying to make light of a sick kid here, but he told this story where he once got a sick kid a ticket to SummerSlam at Wembley Stadium back in '92 to watch him in the main event. And then he looked out into the crowd that night and he saw the empty seat and he knew that the kid had died. And so that compelled him to write a song about it, which he did. It's a real song that he wrote. I think Hulkster in Heaven is what it's called. The only problem with that story is Hogan wasn't at SummerSlam that year. He wasn't even in the UK. Body slamming all 800 pounds of Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3 and tearing every muscle in his body, and then a few days later Andre died. I mean, he really, Hogan is an amazing person. I mean, it's pathological with this guy. He just can't help himself. I still have a soft spot for the Hulkster. I mean, he's got the best entrance music of all time. I grew up on the guy. And you know what? When you look at how many guys from his era aren't around anymore, and all the drugs and all the steroids, I'm happy he's alive to see his 61st birthday. So I, for one, am looking forward to his little birthday bash. I don't mind. As long as it doesn't take up the entire show, and then they sell the pay-per-view, which should be the key goal of Raw Monday Night, to sell people on SummerSlam, I don't have a problem with it. I just hope if he's going to be there, he tells some other stories. So God bless the Hulkster. There really is nobody else like him.